we're going to end up. We're going to be in the book of Matthew today, chapter 7. And we're going to be looking at the first 5 verses. I was going to try and divide. This is the scripture where it talks about the plank being in your eye. I was going to try and rig some headset thing where I could have a 2x4 sticking out of my face. But I figured that might be counterproductive. So I decided not to do that. Then I thought I'm going to get these trash bags and walk around with trash. You know, yeah. But my trash leaks. So thought I better not do that either. Let's begin in the first verse of chapter 7 of Matthew. Do not judge, or you too will be judged. For in the same way you judge others, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? How can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when all the time there's a plank in your own eye? You hypocrite, first take the plank out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. It's kind of a harsh word, isn't it? Hey, turn to the person next to you and say, it's not you, it's me. Yeah, I remember when I was in the dating scene back in like junior high. And then, I'd get a girlfriend, and it was almost like having the plague to get a girlfriend, because I never saw him after that. And there was always this great line, it's not you, it's me. And I'm thinking, well, you really jacked up then. Because I'm really jacked up, and if it's all of you, it's your fault. Then some people really got to work on some stuff around here. But whenever we come to God, whenever we come to know Jesus Christ, and everything is so new, and He's working stuff out in our life, so many times we start looking around at other people and we start seeing things wrong. You don't know how many times somebody came to me and talked to me about most of you in this church and said, you won't believe what they're doing. It's like, really? What are they doing? And I get all this juicy stuff, and I'm like, well, what I'm hearing is you're telling me they're not perfect yet. So that's all you got? They're not perfect. Well, you know what? Jesus didn't expect them to be. Say it again. That's why He came. He came to fix us. And when He came to die for us, it said He died for us while we were still sinners. We were still jacked up. We're still messed up. And He came anyway, and He died for us. But you know one of the number one reasons why people leave church? People. Hypocrites. Well, I'm just going to tell you just like it is. You ever been to, AA meetings or NA, well, I'm a recovering hypocrite. My name is David, and I will judge you from time to time. I apologize in advance. But you don't know the thoughts I'm thinking about you right now. All the crazy things that I'm thinking, but it's going to happen. But it's not about everybody else. I want to see you succeed, but the best way for me to help you to succeed is for me to start working on me. So just like last week, like we talked about, you can see something different in me. But every week it seems like, something happens and somebody says something about, do you know what that guy did or what that lady said? And we're all messed up. And you look at this story, Jesus is talking about 2 different guys. You got this, potentially the guy with the plank would have been a church guy. He would have been a religious person. Later on, he tells the Pharisees, he says, you're straining at a gnat and you're swallowing a camel. You're worried about this little bitty thing, and yet you're just screwing yourself up. But how many of us do the same thing? We see something in somebody else's life, and oh my goodness. It sets us off, and we want to tell somebody something, and we get all fired up. And before you know it, this little bitty speck that somebody else has got going on has turned into a full-grown tree growing out of your face. And I had a runaway zit one time. Well, one time. The other day, I had a runaway zit. And I felt like I could see the thing out of my own eye. Anybody ever been there? Well, imagine a tree growing out of your face. I mean, that's what Jesus is comparing your walk to. That's what he's comparing your judgment of others to. You want to help somebody? You better help yourself first. We're getting there, man. Dell is on it. Dell is, oh, man. And the thing is, the only person that can fix you is Jesus. But see, we try and look the part. And we try and look good. And we try and... I read this article about how morality, Christian morals, won't save anybody. Just being good, trying to live right, trying to live by the law, if you will, isn't going to fix you. You're not going to be able to do it. It doesn't do anything. I read this article about this lady. She was so upset because her daughter had become a teenager and started professing to be an atheist, and she didn't believe in that God stuff, and she was all upset, and she writes into a secular talk, thing, column paper, thing, and they're like, well, you just got to accept her for who she is and just, love her through it and accept the fact that she doesn't like your morals. And the problem that we got is we're teaching our kids the way they should behave, but we're not introducing them to Jesus. Are they seeing Jesus in your life? Or are they just seeing how to live a stuffy life? What are you showing people? What is your family seeing? What are your kids seeing in you? And then when we start to see something in somebody else, it's just like, oh, it just really sets us off. And we walk up with our big bag of trash and we go and set it on Sheila's lap. Can you hold this while I dig through yours? That's what we're doing. I want to see if you got some good trash. Because like they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Because if I can find something really good in you that would really stick out and stink up the place, I'm sure going to point it out. Because I want to feel better about my trash. So I'm going to get everybody looking at you. Can you believe Mike and what he did? Can you believe the stuff he's got? Look at him. Everybody look at him. Just look at Mike. And we're beating him upside the head with our tree, and he's got this little thing that God's working on and God's doing, and God fixes people, not me. Amen. It's not about who you can fix and what you can do. Yeah, we're called to love and to do what we can after, but to try and do it before. There's a certain individual, this story I want to tell you. This certain individual that shall remain nameless for most of the story, and then I'll probably tell you at the end because I'll always mess it up. But she was this mom. She's at home, and there's this tarantula. Tarantulas, that are these fierce flesh-eating beasts that roam our town, and they can jump 10 feet in the air, according to this individual. And they can land on your head, and what they do when they're on your head, I don't know, but maybe mess up your hair, suck your brains, I'm not sure. But this lady was terrified. She had a couple of little kids, and she's freaking out about this tarantula. The kids are like, tarantulas in the yard, there's a big spider in the yard. She's freaking out. Well, the tarantula walks over in its 100-mile-an-hour slow path and gets underneath this pickup truck parked in the driveway. And it's a big pickup truck. And so what does the lady? She loads all of her kids. 4 kids, get in the truck quick, get in the truck quick. We're going to kill this thing. And she fires up the truck. And she begins this barrage of backing up and down the driveway. Backing out to the road. There it is. And then going toward it. backing up. There it is, and going toward it and backing up. And eventually, we stop. We don't see the thing. This lady, she stops, and she don't see the tarantula. We can't tell where this tarantula. Nobody sees it, and by this time, people have gathered, and there's a scene of people that have come out of their houses and going, "What is that lady doing? That's a crazy woman over there. What in the world?" And then suddenly, it's like people are cheering because the tarantula crawls up the side of the house onto the garage door. So guess what happens? This certain individual takes this truck and rams it into the garage door in an effort to destroy this tarantula. She didn't get it. Well, the tarantula falls to the ground. And this is almost like in this valiant effort that this savior of the family opens the door, jumps out, and steps on that bug. I had no choice. I'm not going to tell you it was my mom, but if you go and tell her he told on you with the tarantula truck story, you're on your own. I'll tell you. Because hell hath no fury. Like my mom hearing a story about her. But this tarantula falls to the ground. Isn't it like that with us, though? We think we're going to do something good. We're going to really help somebody. And the whole time, we're just running them over. We're running them down. We're just all over their business. And they don't want to come back around you. Because you've been trying to hit them with a truck. When it was just something small, but you couldn't handle it. I felt this righteousness come within me. And I had to say something. Really? You just had to. But it ain't about them. It's about me. It's about you. It's about us getting ourselves straight. Working on us, that we can become that person that whenever they have whenever that speck is starting to reveal itself, they'll come to you. And they'll say, "I need help with this speck before it turns into a tree. I need help with this thing that's in my life." And they're going to know they can come to you. Because they're going to see Jesus in you. Because they're going to see the thing that Jesus has done in your life. And you can point them right back. Because like I said, you can't fix them. But you can bring them to the person who can. Amen. And the only person that can fix them is Jesus. Amen. But I don't know about you, but I want to be that person. I want to be that person that people can look to and say, "I need help. I can go to him. He's got the answer. He knows Jesus. He talks to him." Funny story, another story I'm going to throw out here. When we went to South Carolina, me and Tony were on the plane on the way back, and we got to meet Matt Chandler. It was awesome. And Tony even got a video and the whole thing of him saying all this great stuff about me, And I was like, "What'd you do? Hold a knife to his throat? How'd you get him this?" No. But anyway, we get on this plane, and it's a little, it's got the one seat on one side and two seats on the other, very small plane. And I'm in one seat, and Tony's kind of over behind me, and he drew the short straw, I guess, and he had to sit by somebody. And this lady comes and sits, and she's just freaking out. She's nervous, like we're all going to die. I hate to fly, all this stuff. And she's just a nervous wreck. And Tony prays for her and calms her down, and she just goes right to sleep. Yeah, just out. She may have been faking it. I don't know. She was calm. She was calm. And there were like two seats behind me. Well, about 3 seats in front of me was Matt Chandler. And I'm thinking, well, what's to worry about? Matt Chandler's on this plane, brother. That's God's man of the hour right there. And I'm like, I know it's stupid, right? It's stupid to think stupid things like this, but I'm like, I ain't never been worried to fly before. God brought him through cancer. God's brought him through a lot of stuff. I doubt he's going to take him out on this plane ride. And so I'm like, I'm at total peace on this flight. I ain't got nothing to worry about because I know he's on that plane. At least that's the crazy logic that's going through my head. And then just like the devil, he's like, how come you ain't like that? And I'm like, shut up, devil. There's no condemnation. All the while I'm feeling so condemned because I'm thinking, he's just a guy. He's just a man. But yet I see something in him that I think is just great. That I see this servant of God. And I'm thinking, I wonder if the world says that about me. You know, if people look at us, at you, at me, and they think, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay because they're on my side. I know they talk to God. I know they got their stuff straight. Yeah, we ain't perfect. The perfect people left last week, okay? They're not here this week, so just so you know. None of us here are perfect. Yeah, they killed him. That's right. Jesus was the only perfect one, and they killed him, so I think we're going to be all right. You're going to live. But you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be something special. But if you'll get in the presence of God, if you'll allow Jesus to change you, to transform you, if you'll just get into His presence and let Him begin to take that plank. Because I got to tell you, I had a plank in my face and I couldn't do anything about it. I came to Him with all kinds of trash and I had to wait for Him. God, please. And I don't know how long I walked around with my trash before. It's like He was taking a piece at a time. I'm like, can we get the express thing going on here? Because I'm jacked. But I need some of this stuff out of my life. And He begins to take it from you. And He begins to clean you up. And He begins to change you. And He begins to turn you into that person that other people can say, that's what I need. That's what I need. And all the while, we're pointing them back to the cross. Back to Jesus. Because it's Him. It's Jesus that changes a person. It's Jesus that transforms a person. And if you come into this church and you feel like people are judging you, I'm sorry, you're wrong. That's the devil. Don't listen to that. Because we're just as screwed up as you are, and we ain't afraid to say it. I mean, we're in one of those churches where if you got to go to the bathroom, take your purse with you. Can I say that? In love. In love. I'm just saying. Because I might dig through it. And if I don't, my kids will. But you just, we want you to feel so welcome. We don't judge you in any way. If I'm going to be a hypocrite, it ain't going to be because of something you did. It's going to be because I'm refusing to work on my stuff. But it's all about Jesus. And getting into a place where He can change you. Where He can work on you. Where He can transform your life. It's not about what everybody else is saying or doing, because I promise you I can walk away from here feeling just as offended as you. I can say, I don't like the way that they were looking at me. I don't like the way this person said that. And I hear it more times than not. That lady was looking at me wrong. And maybe they just look wrong. But we're not perfect. And we don't claim to be. So if you see some of my junk, please come tell me. Your trash is hanging out. Well, I'm going to pick it up. In love. But before you go telling everybody else, I think you did this wrong, I think you did that wrong, and spewing your death to people, deal with you first. I remember, I probably told y'all this, they had a guy I wanted to set straight. It was before I was a pastor, so way back when I was not so holy. That's a joke. But they had a guy I wanted to go. He was doing this stuff, and I'm like, I'm gonna go tell that guy. You know, we got to correct this. What would God want me to do? I need to be His hand extended all over this guy's face. And I go to, and I'm like walking out the door, and of course, what does my wife say? Have you prayed about it? I ain't got to pray about this. I'm right. I know what I need to do. And she's like, yeah, all I'm saying is you better pray before you get over there. All right. Leave me alone, devil woman. I don't receive that. I walk out, get in my car, and I'm like driving over there, and all of a sudden I start feeling God in Amy's voice in my head going, you better pray. And I start praying. I'm like, God, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? And by the time I get over there, I'm just feeling like an idiot because I should have never went in the first place. And I get there, and I'm like, this guy's like, hey, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. What you doing, man? Just come check on you. See how you doing. How's it going? Because God totally changed it. And God fixed the situation. When I gave it to Him, everything was good. Everything. But if I would have went over there and said, I'm going to be the trash man today. I'm going to be the one to I'm going to settle this. I'm going to take this stuff out right here. All I'm going to do is destroy somebody. It may be me. But somebody's going to walk away hurt. Somebody's going to walk away devastated. And it never ends well. We've always got to focus it back on us. What can I do? What can I become? Am I to that place? Because see, if somebody's doing something and it's just infuriating you, something's wrong. Because we're all broken people. And we're all waiting to get fixed. And if you think you've already been fixed, then you're the biggest hypocrite of us all. Because we're all messed up. We're all struggling. We're all striving, just trying to get there. I mean, look at the Pharisee that went into the temple to pray. He goes into the temple and he's like, instead of praising his God, instead of praying to his God, he starts thinking, God, that I'm not like this worthless tax collector over here. I mean, look, he even dresses funny. He smells a little bit. God, he's a crook. And I thank you, I'm not like that. And then you see this tax collector just broken before God. And he's like, God, forgive me, a sinner. I'm nothing. But it's the tax collector that walks away right before God. But too many times we're too focused on what's going on here instead of what's going on here. What's happening with us and God this way. Because if we get this fixed, all this is going to work. But for so long, the church has been trying to fix all of this without any of this. Without going to God. That's why we legislate through morality and why we say you can't do that. I mean, we're fixing to have a vote as to whether restaurants can offer beer. And I'm sure, I don't want to bother you where you stand on that. I don't even get to vote. But that's another story. But the people of Lovington are fixing to take this vote as to where they stand. And I've talked to different people, and they're like, I'm so against it. I don't want that in my community. They shouldn't be able to do this, and not in our town. You ain't going to change anybody by not letting them do that. Now, I'm not telling you I'm for it or I'm against it. But how many of you went and ate at Applebee's or Chili's last week? How many of you went to Cattle Baron? And how many of you have been going to Pacific Rim and going to these places where they're doing that same thing? But it's okay because it's over there. And that's where the less godly people go, and then all the godly people are here in Lovington, maybe. But we start trying to divide up sides, and we find barriers as to this is why we say what we say, and if you're doing this, then you're just wrong. Well, I'm going to tell you, if you ain't got Jesus, you're wrong. Amen. Jesus is the standard. Not do you do this, do you do that, have you stopped that thing, and are you? It's Jesus. It's Jesus. And if you're not willing to get in the presence of God, we're all in trouble. If you're not willing to seek after Him, you're going to drag everybody down. It's going to affect your family. It's going to affect your neighbors. We're all tied together. So the more you just try and live it, the more screwed up it's all going to stay. But if we got a church right here at this end of town, I like to call the foot of Lovington, because we're way down here. If we got a church at this end of town that'll get a hold of God, you think it's going to make people drink less because they're able to serve it in a restaurant? Or is the thing that's going to touch people the fact that you got a hold of Jesus? Laws don't change people. Laws don't help people. Jesus is the thing that's going to change this city. Jesus is the thing that's going to change this country. It's not the next president, because I'm a firm believer in I don't get the president I want, I get the president I deserve. God's already picked him. I'm not telling you don't go vote. Please go vote. But God's got it all figured out. Yeah. You got to do your part. Definitely. Got to do your part. But Jesus is the one that we got to get a hold of. It ain't Barack Obama. It ain't Mitt Romney. They're not going to be the next savior of the world and fix everything. It's Jesus Christ. So stop trying to fix all of this stuff. Start fixing your relationship between you and Jesus. Get you straight. And you know, He'll start fixing all this other stuff too.
You won't worry about that other stuff.
Because He's going to do it. He's going to do it. By you getting you and Him straight, you taking care of His business. We said it all the time. We said it a million times. We said it all. When you take care of His business, He'll take care of yours. So it ain't about what everybody else is doing and how they're looking at you funny and how you feel like you're being judged. Give it to God. Get in His presence. Focus on Him, and He will change everything.
Amen.
He'll change this community. He'll change your home. He'll change your family. It may be a hard road, but with Him, there's nothing He can't do. So would you just take a few minutes with me? Would you just bow your heads right where you're at? Just take a moment and just look at you. It ain't about how much better you look compared to everybody else around you, or you got so many jacked up friends and you're the best of your group. But where are you at? What in your life needs to be fixed? Because we need you to get fixed so that you can help those that have that speck. What's in your life? What plank? What trash? What's there that needs to be removed? Because it ain't about what somebody else did. It's about what you're holding on to. It's about the stuff in your life. And what's keeping you from becoming that person that can help others. Now that you've found that thing, now that that thing's come to your mind and you know what that thing is, now's your opportunity. The way it's removed is by giving it to Jesus. asking Him to come in and take that thing from you. Remove that plank. Remove it from my life. I give it to you, Jesus. Forgive me of that sin that I've been walking in and set me free. Set me free. Would you stand with me? Cheryl, could you come up to the keyboard?